seated. Who gives this woman?
Her mother and I. You guys are perfect for each other. Take care of each other, okay?
Friends and family, we have come here this afternoon to join in marriage Carrie Elizabeth Bussinger and Scott Paul Bauer. Marriage is the ultimate and continuing celebration of the love between two people. Marriage in some form is recognized throughout the world as the cornerstone of family and community life. It's more than a simple legal contract between two people. It's a sacred pledge supported by abiding love, intended not to last for a few days, weeks, or years, but for so long as the man and the woman shall live. A marriage is therefore not to be entered into lightly, but rather reverently and discreetly. I ask you now to consider the duties and responsibilities you now solemnly assume, to love and honor each other, to be ready to make sacrifices and concessions to each other far beyond those you've made in all aspects of life, and to recognize that marriage is the test of your capacity to understand, value, and grow with each other. Will you please join hands? Do you, Scott Paul Bauer, take Carrie Elizabeth Bussinger to be your lawful and wedded wife, to have and to hold from this day forward? Do you promise to love and cherish her in sickness and in health, for richer or for poorer, for better or for worse, and forsaking all others, keeping you only unto her, for so long as you both shall live?
I do.
And do you, Carrie Elizabeth Bussinger, take Scott Paul Bauer to be your lawful and wedded husband, to have and to hold from this day forward? Do you promise to love and cherish him in sickness and in health, for richer or for poorer, for better or for worse, and forsaking all others, keeping you only unto him, for so long as you both shall live?
I do.
May I have the rings? Successful handoff. One of the oldest traditions of marriage is the exchange of rings. These rings shall serve today and always as an outward symbol of the love and the bond that Carrie and Scott now share. Scott, if you'll repeat after me. In token and pledge
In token and pledge
of our constant faith
of our constant faith
and abiding love,
and abiding love,
Carrie,
Carrie,
with this ring,
with this ring,
I thee wed.
I thee wed.
And Carrie, if you'll repeat after me. In token and pledge
In token and pledge
of our constant faith
of our constant faith
and abiding love,
and abiding love,
with this ring,
with this ring,
I thee wed.
I thee wed.
You both, now having made your pledges of love and affection and your vows of fidelity by the authority vested in me as a judge of the 78th District of the state of Indiana, I now pronounce you husband and wife. Many blessings of love, good fortune, health, and happiness be with you always. Scott, you may kiss your bride. Pleasure to be the first to introduce to you Mr. and Mrs. Scott Bauer, and they have invited you to join them for a cocktail hour and reception immediately following.
Here they come. Wow. Right on cue. Number one, we have PJ Ubra and Victoria Rusnick. Come on down. Up next is Chris Hall and Katie Seymour. Next up, Matt Johnson and Jessica Miller. Next we have Kevin Bauer and Katie Ubri. Okay, just one couple left. And I am proud to introduce Mr. and Mrs. Scott Bauer. And there you have your 2015 Halloween bridal party.
Alright, can everybody hear me? Am I projecting well? Should I use the mic? Are we good? Okay. Okay, so I know very little about weddings. This is only my third wedding I've ever gone to, and I sure don't know much about marriage. But I do know these two care about each other very much. And to me, weddings are just two people who live together and care very much about each other, and having this party, and then they'll go back to living together. So I will keep this very short. More people will talk later, but I'm really happy to see everybody here. Everybody coming from really far, from Oregon, from Kentucky to Arizona to Colorado, from Wisconsin and Minnesota. It's really great to see so many people coming out. And anyways, yeah, I guess I'll turn it over to Carrie's sister, Katie.
So, everyone that knows Carrie knows that she loves her animals, and since I live in another state, Carrie and Scott had been dating for a couple of years before I even got to meet Scott, but I knew that he was the right man for Carrie before I met him in person. Because one day on Facebook there were photographs of a dog birthday party that Carrie was throwing. And not only was Scott in these photographs, he was wearing a party hat. And that was the moment that I knew that Scott was the perfect man for my sister. So I wish the both of you many years of love, happiness, and dog birthday parties to Carrie and Scott.
As the father of the groom, it's kind of customary to give the advice to the bride as to what she's in for. I would like to, before I do that though, second my youngest son, Kevin's thought. I really are appreciative of all the people who have come from all over, really all over the country. We have people from the West Coast, from the East Coast, from the Gulf who've come up here for this blessed event. So we are very, very humbled by that, and we're very appreciative that people have taken the time and the expense to come here for this event. So thank you all very much. So on to the toast to Carrie and Scott. As I said, it's customary for the father of the groom to give some advice to the bride. And what I wanted to talk a little bit about is genetics. And the reason I want to do that is, for some of you don't know this, I'm a biochemist, okay? And have a background that involves genetics and molecular biology. But Scott also is a biochemist. The nut doesn't fall far from the tree. But he married actually also a scientist. So Carrie, if you don't know this, she has a degree in psychology, but she also has a minor in animal behavior. So she knows how to train animals. So one of the things that she actually is very good at is with animals. So she actually does do a lot of training with dogs, and she's been doing it for years. And she does agility training, so she gets dogs to jump on these different events and go on teeter-totters and all those sort of things. But she realizes that genetics are really powerful, because you'll find that something like Carrie's Chihuahua is going to be very different than our coonhound. And so she knows that when she trains the Chihuahua, she uses different metrics, such as jumps that are very, very low. And when she trains the coonhound, she uses things like shock collars. Because the coonhound, when it gets into a scent, it's completely driven by genetics, and you can't stop her from doing anything without giving her a reminder that she knows she should listen to us. So I just say a few things about Scott's genetic pedigree. Scott has a few an interesting mix between his mother and his father's line. And so one of the interesting mix is on his mother's line, is that his mother was always worried about things. For example, she worried a lot about spontaneous combustion. So when we wanted to go on a vacation or to any type of trip, I would have to sit in the car and wait 20 minutes while she unplugged everything. Every lamp, every TV, every clock in the wall had to be unplugged, because she couldn't go on vacation without that. And Scott did inherit that worry gene, so just be prepared that when you want to go on vacations, you're going to have to wait for him to get ready to go on that vacation. My father actually, and it skipped this generation, skipped me, always had to have his stuff. So he had a car that he had to put special hydraulic shocks in, because in the back trunk of his car he had all his personal possessions, thousands of pounds of stuff that he had to go with, so that whenever he went from place A to B, his stuff was with him. And when Scott was young, when we went to the lake, and we had 2 houses, his stuff came with him in either suitcases or big bags from one house to another every weekend, because his toys had to go with him from one place to another. So those are things that you'll have to just deal with, those traits moving forward. However, it also has very good genes. So he actually has a very outgoing personality, which really comes from the Ellis side. And so Scott's mom and Scott's grandfather from the Ellis side never met a stranger. And he could walk into anybody and just have perfectly fine conversation. And it's still that trait passed on to Scott. The other thing is Scott has a fantastic work ethic, loves his field, but he also is a very family man, and he really, really cares a lot about family. So that's one of the reasons why I think it's really important that everybody came here for this event, because it really means a lot to him that the family get together for this event, because he really has a strong sense of family. So I really appreciate that we were all able to be here for this event. And then I just want to say, I've known Carrie now for about 5 years at least, and 6 years. 7 years. And besides being a wonderful pie baker, world renowned for that, what I've noticed is that she really has a very loving heart, and that Scott and Carrie are like a match set. So in fact, in now 7 years, I've never seen you guys actually fight. It's pretty amazing. So anyways, what I want to say is that you guys really care for each other very much, and you get along very well with each other, and you respect each other very much. And so I think that really is a really good foundation for our marriage. And so I just want to say that I look forward to many, many years of you joining the family, and I think that this is a really good union. And so with that, I'll offer a toast. Scott and Carrie.
I want to introduce myself. My name is Nancy Ward, and I'm Carl's fiance. And I want to tell you that I consider Scott, Carrie, and Kevin among my very best friends. It was wonderful when I met Carl. I mean, he is my very best friend, but when I met Carl, to find that his children were very, very open to our friendship and became my friends, and I really cherished my time with them, and I cherish Carl very much too. And so I'm very happy. I've known Carrie 7 years probably, and I knew that we would get along when Scott and Carrie came out and to the lake during the summer, and the guys went down the boat to do stuff, and we were managing the dogs, and she came up walking beside me and said, "So where did our boyfriends get off to?" And I was like, father, son, boyfriends, yeah, she's right. And then I also knew we would get along with when a few months later, I said to Carl, I referred to Carrie as your virtual daughter-in-law. And a few days later, Carrie called up and said, "Where's my virtual father-in-law?" And I knew that our brains were sort of wired together. But I do want to say something. I don't have any children. And I always thought that having children would be the hardest thing in the world. And I really didn't want to work that hard. So I sort of made the choice not to have children. And now I have these wonderful stepsons who are really friends. I'm not their mother. I'm not trying to replace them. And I just wanted to say that being here has brought me great joy. And my relationship with them has brought me great joy. But I'm really torn because I think that knowing Carl, I knew that he did not raise these children alone. And I never knew the woman who was their mother. And knowing these two wonderful men, I know that Christine Gail Ellis Bauer was the most wonderful mother to them. And if I had had a chance to know her, I know that I would have thought that she was a wonderful, wonderful person. And I really feel torn. I feel that the world is an extremely unfair place because Chris couldn't be here with you all. And I feel very lucky that I am, but I tell you, I really wish she could be here because I can tell you that she would be so proud of Scott. And she would be so proud of Kevin, and she would love Carrie to death. Just knowing them, I feel like I know her, although I'm sure I don't. But I think it's wonderful her family's here to stand in for her, and I feel that, well, I just want to make a promise to her, whoever she is, that if her children ever have grandchildren, I will do my damnedest to spoil them because I know she would want them spoiled. So, thank you very much.
First of all, my wife and I just celebrated our 41st anniversary. Having 7 sisters and 2 daughters, it's nice to have another son. And PJ's already figured out, Scott, you know, when you got German on both sides of your lineage, they tend to be a little stubborn sometimes, but just grin and bear it. It's going to be fine. But I'm really glad to have you in our family.
And baby, my heart could still fall less hard at 23. And I'm thinking about how people fall in love in mysterious ways. Maybe just the touch of a hand. Well, me, I fall in love with you every single day. And I just wanna tell you I am. So honey, now take me into your loving arms. Kiss me under the light of 1,000 stars. Place your head on my beating heart. I'm thinking out loud, maybe we found love right where we are. When my hair's all but gone and my memory fades, and the crowds don't remember my name. When my hands don't play the strings the same way, I know you will still love me the same. 'Cause honey, your soul could never grow old, it's evergreen. And baby, your smile's forever in my mind and memory. I'm thinking about how people fall in love in mysterious ways. And maybe it's all part of a plan. Well, I'll just keep on making the same mistakes, hoping that you'll understand. But baby, now take me into your loving arms. Kiss me under the light of 1,000 stars. Place your head on my beating heart.
Now, Red Solo Cup is the best receptacle for barbecues, tailgates, fairs, and festivals, and you, sir, do not have a pair of testicles if you prefer drinking from glass. A Red Solo Cup is cheap and disposable, and in 14 years they are decomposable, and unlike my home, they are not foreclosable. Freddie Mac kissed my ass. Woo! Red Solo Cup, I fill you up. Let's have a party. Let's have a party. I love you, Red Solo Cup. I lift you up. Proceed to party. Proceed to party. Now, I really love how you're easy to stack, but I really hate how you're easy to crack. 'Cause when beer runs down in front of my back, well, that, my friends, is quite yucky. But I have to admit that the ladies get smitten, admiring how sharply my first name is written on you with a Sharpie when I get to hitting on them to help me get.
Okay, on behalf of your bad knees, I'm doing you a favor here. So, I have had instructions on this. Congratulations.